Narrator. Saudi Arabia is rewriting its future in the desert, a $500 billion megaproject called NEOM, the crown jewel of Vision 2030. But is this the dawn of a new era, or the world's biggest gamble? A $500 billion bet on the future. A promise of a shiny, tech-fueled paradise designed to pivot an entire economy from oil. For decades, the kingdom's wealth has flowed from oil. But now, with the world moving toward clean energy, NEOM is being sold as the bold answer. A city with no cars, no streets, and zero emissions. Funded by one of the largest investment funds on Earth, it's a real-world experiment to rewrite the rules of what a city can be. The scale is mind-boggling. But beneath the glossy vision lies a harsher truth. Forced evictions, human rights concerns, and lives lost. So what does progress really cost? But for every vision of the future, there is a past. And as the bulldozers get to work, they kick up a different kind of dust, raising urgent questions about power, progress, and the true human cost of building a dream.
So, Saudi Arabia is in the middle of this massive, history-making transformation called Vision 2030. And at the absolute center of it all is a project so big, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. A $500 billion bet on the future called NEOM. And it really makes you stop and ask some pretty big questions. I mean, on one hand, you've got this promise of a shiny, tech-fueled paradise. But as the bulldozers get to work, it's also kicking up some serious dust about what progress really means, who holds the power, and what the true cost of building a dream really is. So, is this the future we should all be aiming for? Or is it a huge cautionary tale in the making?
Okay, so to really get NEOM, you first have to understand the massive challenge that Saudi Arabia is facing. How do you pivot your entire economy when it's built on oil? That's the whole point of this Vision 2030 plan.
And just how big is that dependency? Well, it's staggering. For decades, oil has made up something like 70 to 80% of the government's money. With the rest of the world trying to move to clean energy, this isn't just a nice-to-have plan. It's about economic survival.
And that's exactly where NEOM comes in. It's not just another city. They're selling it as the crown jewel of Vision 2030, a massive real-world experiment for all sorts of new tech in energy and transport, all designed to pull in foreign money and completely rewrite the rules of what a city can even be.
And when I say the scale is huge, I mean, it's just mind-boggling. We're talking about a chunk of land bigger than the entire country of Kuwait. It's got the Line, that crazy 170-kilometer-long mirrored skyscraper you've probably seen pictures of, Oxagon, a giant floating city for industry, and Trojana, a mountain resort that, get this, is somehow going to host the Asian Winter Games in 2029, in the desert.
All right, so you're probably wondering, a project this massive, where on earth does the money come from? We're talking $500 billion after all.
Well, say hello to the Public Investment Fund, or PIF for short. Think of it as the kingdom's giant investment arm. Its whole job is to take all that money from oil and plow it back into big projects at home, like NEOM, and into major companies all over the world, to build up a new economy that doesn't rely on oil.
And giant is an understatement. The PIF is sitting on an estimated $925 billion in assets. It's one of the biggest sovereign wealth funds on the entire planet, which gives it a ton of power in the global market.
Yeah, and the PIF's money is everywhere. Seriously. They've got big chunks of companies you know, like Uber and the electric car maker Lucid Motors, video game companies like EA. They own the Newcastle United soccer team and even have a big stake in Heathrow Airport. It's all part of the strategy. Make money from these investments to one day replace the money from oil.
Okay, so we've talked about the sci-fi vision and the mountains of cash, but there's a flip side to this coin, a much, much darker one, a story about the very real human cost of building this dream in the desert.
So this is what they're selling, right? 0 cars, 0 streets, and 0 carbon emissions. It sounds amazing, doesn't it? A perfectly clean, green, sustainable future.
But this is the reality for the people who actually live there. To clear that huge area for NEOM, the Saudi government started forcibly removing the local Huaytat tribe.
Human rights groups have reported a campaign of intimidation to push people out. People whose families have lived on this exact land for centuries. This completely contradicts the initial claims that the land was basically untouched. And when people pushed back, things got violent. This is what was left of one man's home, Abdul Rahim al-Huwaiti. He was posting videos online protesting the evictions. The next day, Saudi special forces reportedly showed up, surrounded his house, and killed him.
And they didn't stop with him. Dozens of other tribe members have been arrested, and they've been prosecuted under really harsh counter-terrorism laws just for peacefully protesting. For at least 5 of them, the sentence is death.
It's not just the local tribes either. The human cost also touches the migrant workers who are actually building this project. Listen to this quote from Mir Wali Khan. His brother, a 25-year-old engineer from Pakistan, died on a NEOM construction site, and his family says they've been left completely in the dark, fighting for basic answers and accountability.
So you've got this incredible futuristic vision on one side and these awful human rights stories on the other. But the whole thing gets even more complex and, frankly, a bit weird when you start looking at the progress and the paradoxes at the very heart of this whole plan.
Now let's be fair. It's not all just drawings and promises. Things are actually getting built. The NEOM green hydrogen plant, for example, is already 80% done. Once it's finished, it's going to be the largest in the world, a real tangible step towards clean energy. And look, the big picture strategy, getting away from oil, it seems to be working. If you look at the projections, by 2025, the money coming from things other than oil is expected to be almost the same as the money from oil. That is a huge, huge shift.
But, and this is a big but, here's where it gets really contradictory. So on one hand, you have the kingdom building the world's biggest green hydrogen plant, pushing for renewable energy. But at the very same time, an investigation uncovered this secret state program designed to actually boost global oil demand by pushing cheap gas cars and even supersonic jets in developing countries. It's like they're hitting the accelerator and the brake at the exact same time.
And that really gets to the heart of what's happening here with NEOM. This is more than just an economic plan. It's a high-stakes gamble for the country's identity, for its soul.
So what are we left with? You have this incredible sci-fi dream, a real moonshot project, funded by more money than most of us can imagine. But you just can't ignore the fact that it's being built on a foundation of really serious human costs, not to mention the big environmental questions that are still hanging in the air. So as they keep building this giant mirrored line in the desert, you have to ask, Vision 2030 is changing a country, there's no doubt about it. But when we look back on this moment in history, what's the story we're going to tell? The story of the breathtaking vision? Or the story of the price that was paid to make it real?
When history remembers NEOM, will it be as humanity's bold leap into the future, or as a cautionary tale of ambition at any price? So we are left with a paradox, a kingdom building the world's largest green energy plant while simultaneously working to boost global oil demand. Is this the future we should all be aiming for, or a monumental cautionary tale?